All right, joining me for a long overdue discussion about the world and America is CA Conservative. Cameron, welcome to the
Hello.
show. Hi.
Thank you for having me back.
So let's start with the truly depressing news out of Chile.
Well, I mean, it was never going to end happily. Chile is just, well, I mean, it's part of just the wider trend. The late, as I think I said, the late 2000s saw a significant number of right-wing governments come in, and now it's swinging back as it normally does. It's not a
Yeah,
good time to be in government, nor is it a phenomenon purely restricted to the right. Obviously, left-wing governments in Portugal, Spain, Italy's been struggling a while, but they've all been struggling in the polls as well. And it's a bad time to be, seen with your hand on the wheel, mostly because we're flying off the cliff.
Yep. And yeah, no, I mean, we saw right-wing governments in Norway go down. I think we saw a right-wing government in I think Peru had a fairly right-wing government for a long time that lost this year. I believe obviously Germany was the big story of the right flipping to the left. Although mind you,
Well,
I
I
think
mean,
in
in theory,
Germany,
the right did win that election, just not in any form that could form a government.
right. But like I'd say in some ways that Scholz is an improvement over Merkel.
Well, more precisely, the CDU being, or the FDP and the Greens being in government is better than the CDU being in government.
Yeah, we ran a truly horrible candidate, didn't we?
Oh, just an absolute fool. Well, I mean, I probably would have voted for the FDP.
Right.
Um,
I'm actually heartened that like Lib Dem like parties are surging. Like you had the Lib Dems like win that Tory plus 40 special election. You had, or sorry, by-election. You had the FDP, who's now in government in Germany. You actually had a surge by like this Free Democrat like party in Japan.
They're not really connected. They all have their own individual reasons. I mean, the Lib Dems in the UK have always been sort of the by-election party. And then they get murdered every general election.
Yeah,
Obviously, now you just
but
have the Johnson government being extraordinarily unpopular with the man himself
right.
acting in
But
just
you
totally dumb ways. He
I would
needs to
say
go,
even
as we've all
even
said.
considering that like a Lib Dem win in a Tory plus 40 seat is nothing to sneeze at.
No, but it's not unusual. I mean, Richmond Park saw the same thing back in 2016, I think, or 2017. Obviously not at this scale, but I mean, you even just on the stories on the ground saw a number of staunch conservatives saying that they had to vote against the Tories.
Well, why is
On
Boris
the issue of,
Johnson flailing?
well, it's because he doesn't have any ideas. They don't have any plan, and so they're not only just flailing around, they have no plan to tackle. I mean, just in the local area, the question of farming, they have no new reforms there. They've been unable to deal with anything with criminal justice because, they're too afraid to, you know, take a harder line. Migration, they could do a worse job. But that's just largely
They
down to
have
the Home
Priti
Secretary.
Patel as the foreign minister. Like, why are they flailing when they have someone like Priti Patel in charge of that?
Well, because she's only in charge of the implementation, not the policy itself.
Right.
Um, he also, I mean, all the climate stuff, I mean, that's been a long-standing Boris issue, but I do think it's a waste of time. It's a waste, they have no plans to deal with, having to revitalize the economy. You know, Boris is probably too economically moderate to really stake a hard enough line on that. And then obviously you have his personal
Someone
issues. The
argue
man's got like
someone argue
three
that his
corruption
economic
scandals.
someone argued that his economic moderatism is how he specifically appealed to was one of the things that appealed to the northern British.
Well, but but he's not from the North. His idea
Right,
of what counts as economically moderate is not what they would count as economically moderate.
right.
Um, and there's just a lack of ideas, honestly. They're acting like, the major government in 1995. They've been doing
Right.
it, almost too long, and they need, fresh ideas.
It
Um,
almost sounds to me though that like, do you understand what I say when I mean that Boris Johnson, at least the way he campaigned, gives off Claremont vibes in the sense that he's both combining like hard Euroscepticism with being like, populist, not conservative on economic policies. I
I
get
mean, he's
Claremont
not,
vibes from that.
the problem with Boris Johnson is he's a very ungenuine individual. Um, his personal affairs are a joke. Um, Fair, that's actually funny. The man, he's
Jeez.
a chameleon. I mean, he ran as sort of the ultra moderate, back in 2008 against, everybody's favorite London mayor. And then sort of took
Sadiq
that
Khan?
moderate. Oh no, Livingston.
Livingston.
Um,
Oh, I actually have, I got to look him up.
um, and then he sort
Yeah,
of
I'm not with
turned
it.
towards this populist stance later, but without, he's a very strange person. And obviously the problem is that the scandals just don't stop.
Oh, Ken Livingstone.
Yeah. The scandals just don't stop with the stuff about the parties, the stuff about the man has never been, faithful to any of his wives, um,
Does
to
that
all
really
the stuff
matter
about
In
politics.
politics anymore? Does that matter in British
Well, it's
politics?
not Fran. I mean, the man has had probably 8 affairs over the past 20 years.
Well, so is like half the
Um,
French presidents.
yeah, but the UK isn't France.
Yeah.
Um, Cecil Parkinson's one affair was a serious problem for him. And Boris just doesn't stop. Um,
Wasn't there someone in the conservative government in the 1960s who slept with a hooker?
oh yeah, Porto, I believe his name was.
Yeah.
And it was a serious problem for the government. And so there have sort of, and the Tories in the 90s went through the same thing, just the sleaze.
Yeah.
You can't generally point to a single problem, but it's the perception that they're all, corrupt.
Yeah. I feel
Um,
like politicians everywhere are horny, except that in Europe, I think it's more acceptable for politicians to be horny.
well, that's not necessarily the problem. Just don't get married if you're going to do that.
Right. Like, and what I specifically am remembering is I think this ad that was run by this, I think it was in 2011 by this PIS candidate in Poland, where she's just literally doing a striptease. That's the entire ad. I think she, I think she was a PIS candidate in 2011.
Ironic.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong. I mean, there's no sense in being Puritan, but it's a matter of trust.
Right.
You want to be
Anyway,
like the Finnish PM, that's fine. But there is a certain
finish.
part.
Oh yeah. The not. She didn't have an affair. She went out clubbing, but she didn't
Yeah.
have an affair, right?
No, but it's in the same category so far as the activity. But it's a matter of trust. It doesn't particularly matter what you're doing. It's the matter of you're taking an oath and then breaking it.
Yeah.
Um, and the problem is, and there was a good documentary about Boris where even maybe a decade ago, where his friends told him you need to, lock your pants on because it's not working.
Yeah.
And it
Um.
keeps coming out and it contributes to a perception that, you know, he's a liar, which he is, but on
Yeah.
an unacceptable bit.
If I were living in Finland, I would actually vote against the current government solely because the current government does not support joining NATO.
Well, I mean, that's a left-wing administration, so,
Right. But they're right on the
which,
border with
which,
Russia.
well, of course, the past government didn't do too well. Lot of breakups, what were they? The Blue Finns, I think they called themselves, or the Blue Party. Had the word blue in it. Um, but
Anyway,
you
we've
you
gotten
can't have these
sidetracked.
personal scandals.
Yeah. we've gotten sidetracked from the matter that we initially began this conversation on, and that is Chile. Boric, it's actually ironic because I was looking at some of the exit polls. Apparently, Boric won like every Chilean diaspora constituency. There's a Chilean diaspora in a lot of countries, and apparently Boric won every single one of them except the Chilean diaspora in Israel. That particular diaspora voted for Cost about 2-1.
Sounds about right. I thought he won the US one too.
Did he? Maybe.
No, but the problem is that Cost is simply too radical to run in a country as obviously left wing as Chile now is.
Right. And it's funny because Chile, I think, had a good run. It was fun while it lasted. Like they Pinochet, I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, but he was a brutal dictator, but his legacy, i.e., being making Chile into a neoliberal paradise, was a positive one.
Well, it's just I mean, in modern times, the right has just been unable to arrest the clamor for reform. I mean, the left has now won probably the last 5 important elections, on the question
Yeah.
of changing the Constitution, on the question of electing the convention, in which the left won, a supermajority.
In 2019, did the president make a mistake by not cracking down on the protesters?
Well, it wouldn't have helped. His corruption is the problem. That
Yeah.
the problem with the center right, and they did the same thing in Brazil, to where it's the sleaze.
Right.
Corruption is a serious problem, and it undermined the center left, obviously, a decade and a half ago. And now it's the right's turn to
And
have
now the guy who was
everybody.
undermined, is probably going to be the one who ends up coming back.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Brazil is difficult to predict just because the right technically could take him out,
Right. He's
or
at
he'll try
22% of.
or he'll try a self coup and get assassinated. That's always the other option.
Like
But I don't know
pretend to
how
get
many
assassinated.
times. Well, but I don't know how many times we have to do this before we realize that if people are given the choice between the far left and the far right, they're going to choose the far left.
Right.
Whereas if you give them the choice between the center right and the far left, the center right will win.
Do you really think that Bernie Sanders could have defeated Donald Trump?
Probably would have done even better than Biden.
That is a scary proposition.
It is. Unfortunately for him, he'll never win a primary.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Well, I would say fortunately for America.
Well, yeah. No, but I mean the whole pink tide thing is more just a matter of timing. Colombia is going to be. Well, yeah, I've seen the map, but I mean, Colombia is going to go 50-50. Who knows how that could go?
I hope that the right survives in Colombia. They've been doing quite well.
Yeah. Argentina is probably going to turn back to the right.
I would hope so.
Well, it was the latest poll I saw that 60% like, all of the center right people, and they don't like the left. So
the opposition came to power in the upper chamber for I think the first time in a long time.
No, they're managing to they avoided the sort of post defeat civil war that generally tends to happen when bad stuff like that occurs.
I'm kind of surprised that after 8 years of the Peronists in power, and then a guy who tried to fix things 4 years later loses to the Peronists.
Well, but he didn't win that first election. I mean, he did,
Really?
but I mean, he exploited the runoff system quite well.
Yeah.
And the problem is that he didn't have the legislature behind him.
Yeah. What happening in Chile? Who controls the legislature in Chile at the moment?
The left does.
Oh,
They lost.
Oh no.
I think the Senate, I think, is tied-ish, but yeah, that was my main concern. In Peru, the right has a supermajority. It didn't particularly matter who won the presidency. But in
Right.
Chile, that's why, I wanted
And
Cast to win because the left did control the
be,
legislature.
because like the left controls in Bolivia. Or
Yeah,
does MAS control the legislature?
almost certainly, probably by quite a wide
Okay.
margin too.
Yeah. So does Chile have the potential to go down the direction of Bolivia, or are we talking like Venezuela?
They
Are we
are
are we
fairly
go
radical, so I would say both
are
are bad choices.
yeah, so we're going to, is Florida possibly going to get an influx of Chilean refugees who are going to be strong Republican constituencies?
That is the one good thing about the pink tide. It does help our electoral prospects, doesn't it?
Yeah. I could see like a Republican coalition in Florida of Cubans, Venezuelans, Nicaraguans, Chileans. Have Bolivians gotten to Florida yet? I
Probably.
would, I would, I actually was, let me look this up. Bolivians in Florida. Actually, Bolivian Americans. Are Americans of Bolivia's Christ, the third smallest Latin American group in the United States, only about like a little under 100,000. Highest concentration resides in the Washington metropolitan area, 38% of the total Bolivian population in the US. Additional areas of concentration include New York City, Borough of Queens, Miami-Dade County, and the cities of Los Angeles and Providence, Rhode Island. So we've got some in Miami.
Yeah, I would expect though that many more to flee from a lot of places around the world.
Yeah.
It is really rather astonishing that, Dem administrations tend to lead to severe problems in a lot of places.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate, but we did win in Ecuador.
Yes. There are a few small victories. But remember in Ecuador that we were kicking the left out.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so
that's even
it's a
better.
bad time to be in government.
Yeah.
I don't think any governing party outside of countries where, they don't need to, really win to win.
Even in Canada, in the province of Nova Scotia, the progressive conservatives, against all expectations, came to power.
Yeah, and it's quite unpopular now, as a poll I saw today.
Oh, the progressive conservatives in Nova Scotia?
Yeah, doesn't particularly matter. The poll, it's in 3 years or whatever.
Unfortunately, what I'm really upset about is what's happened to the United Conservatives in Alberta.
Yeah, he needs to go. It's been that way for a couple months now. But he needs
Jason
to
Kenney,
leave.
it's amazing that when Jason Kenney does like anything close to what DeSantis did, he's now at like 9% approval rating. Whereas, can you ever see that happening to DeSantis?
Well, the problem with the Albertan UCP is just they don't. They had their master plan required, nothing bad to happen. All of the deficit reduction stuff, all of, all the economic growth stuff, it kind of relied on nothing bad happening.
Okay, who's in charge of the? I'm very worried about this. Who is in charge of the Alberta New Democrats? Rachel
Isn't she
Notley.
still in charge? Yeah, she's still in charge.
Yes.
Why would she have left?
Because she lost in 2019.
And
her party got booted from power.
when has that ever stopped anybody?
Yeah, and the polls have consistently shown lately that the NDP would come back to power.
By a lot. I mean, it's the crux of being in government.
Yeah. Alberta didn't used to be competitive. Like Alberta just kept electing the same party for government for like 40 years.
Well, that's because the NDP has managed to slightly moderate. Which is why the UCP needs to get a freaking grip.
Yeah.
And as things improve, it should help them out. They need a new leader. That's not a bad idea, just in general.
The UCP.
Yeah.
I was actually hoping that back when after Harper lost, I was hoping that Jason Kenney would be the Conservatives' next leader.
He's probably too brash. He is kind of like a DeSantis kind of character.
I like him.
Um,
He's charismatic.
he's a good speaker. I always enjoyed watching their version of PMQs.
Yeah.
Um,
He also does these Facebook lives.
yeah. Well, I wouldn't know that, but yeah.
Yeah. So like he has a charisma that Andrew Scheer lacked.
Well, I mean, the leading Canadian conservatives are just not good.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of O'Toole. I'm going to say this publicly. I am not a fan of O'Toole, particularly his pandering to Quebec nationalists.
Well, I mean,
You,
that would have been had the election gone, one or two more points in his direction, he would have needed them for government.
right, but you might have seen that there's an ongoing lawsuit against a Quebec law that bans religious symbols in the public sector. I you know me. I am a big proponent of freedom of religion. I think this law is anti-Canadian, and I think that I'm disappointed that our leaders are not taking a stronger stance, saying "See you in court, Quebec."
Well, but I mean, the Canadian court system is never going to be able to, beat Quebec, as they will just use the notwithstanding clause for everything.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
it's one of
and
my
that is the
it's one of
problem with, obviously Quebec nationalism is just going to be weird. Tragically, the alternative is the left gaining even more power. So,
yeah,
there's
just
no very
I
good
thought that
options.
I thought that O'Toole and the Conservatives took like a morally compromising position on Quebec and particularly that law. I actually tweeted that our party should basically call out Quebec and declare their opposition to that law. Both my federal MP and my provincial MPP actually liked that tweet.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
You got
Um,
connections.
yeah, I've actually tried reaching out to my representatives on helping out with what's it called? Afghan refugees. I actually found that Jeremy, the office of my provincial MVP, who's a progressive conservative, his office responded a lot more quickly than my liberal MP's office did.
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
They're going rather hardcore, the Ford government these days, aren't they?
yeah, they've just hiked the minimum wage to $15 an hour.
Well, I mean, those are Canadian dollars, so is that a lot?
Probably like something like 11.25. I don't know.
Could be worse. No, but just his continued survival is actually quite funny.
Yeah, I mean, polls show he's ahead.
Yeah, it is. Doug Ford is probably, he's the Boris Johnson of Canada.
Yeah, except I think he's a lot more politically savvy.
Not really. I mean, have you ever looked at what he looks like?
He is not like his brother. Let's just say that no, straight out the gate. He is not
Well,
like his
no,
brother. He's actually
he's not. He may not be. He's not. He's basically his brother minus all the drugs. And he gets away with a bit more because he's not as bad as his brother. And so the comparison isn't between him and a normal politician, it's between him and his brother.
yeah, and just to be fair, you can say what you want about the Fords. They knew how to win in Toronto.
Oh yeah.
Like Toronto actually currently has a progressive conservative mayor.
Yeah. Well, depending on what you think of the man anyway.
I mean I like John Tory. He
He's
one of the
better
issues
than
we
what's her
have.
name? Not Chang. What's her name? Chin? Starts with a C.
I don't know who's running in next year's.
Um,
We're actually think my hometown's mayor is actually retiring.
oh, what a shame.
Yeah. Mayoral elections, I believe technically are nonpartisan in Canada.
Yeah, there's a lot of technically nonpartisan elections here too. Nobody buys it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You know what town I live in, right?
Canada, right?
No, I'm in the capital.
Uh,
Our mayor is Jim Watson. I don't know if you've heard of him.
no.
Yeah, it's because Ottawa is so small.
Hmm.
We're actually believe it or not, we're the only major city that lies on a provincial boundary.
Tragic.
Every other single city, major city in Canada is nowhere near a border with another province. So you don't have like those cross-border metropolitan areas like you have in the United States.
What a shame.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But I'm hoping like the progressive conservatives pull it out. I am a bit frustrated that we're sort of things are closing again, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. Like I think Ford got spooked by what happened to Kenny, and he's figured doing nothing would be disastrous.
Yeah. Let's just say that the people's tolerance towards restrictions is at its lowest point possible.
Not in
Um,
Canada.
Well, in most parts of the world anyway, and even for Canada,
Right.
probably relatively speaking.
Right. I mean, you just had that story apparently. Like, I don't know if you saw the story. Have you? Ezra Levant apparently like tweeted out saying, "Oh, can you get like footage of this doctor? Offer a bounty for footage of this particular doctor partying without a mask on."
Sounds about right.
You've heard of
Although he
you've heard of
was,
Ezra.
well, I
Yeah.
have mostly with not good things.
Yeah.
He's
Ezra
somebody who
Levant is
he's somebody who talks way too much about things he knows nothing about.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because we really don't have like a reasonable right-wing television network in
And we
Canada.
do.
It's like Fox News does have some, or at least used to have some semi-respectable people on them. Like you have Brett Baer, you have Martha McCallum, you also have Neil Cavuto.
He's on Fox
Uh,
Business, but point taken.
Right. Whereas the Rebel, like, I think I can't point to a single person who I like. You have Gavin McInnes, like, I probably have at least someone who's going to be watching this who's probably going to be shaking her fist at every single name I mentioned here. You had Lauren Southern on there for a little bit, and you've heard of her, right?
I've met her in person, in fact.
Oh, what's is she? Is she nicer in real life than she is online?
Um, I mean, I wouldn't describe her as a mean person, just a wrong person.
Right. I just always figured. I mean, I thought that her most recent iteration that at least I saw from her was that she was essentially a neo-racist.
Oh no, she was a neo-racist back then, but she was nice about it.
Right. Um, but yeah, she actually was the Libertarian nominee for Parliament in 2015. Libertarians in Canada are like the sixth party.
Yeah,
Like,
and even
you
then,
know,
it's basically, they're in a basement.
right. They don't even
Still
run
have free
candidates in all
space.
ridings.
I would.
They don't. They don't even run candidates in all ridings. Like the Greens, they only won like 2 seats, but they ran candidates everywhere.
I mean, they're getting more
And
popular. Not
the
surprising given the
Greens,
dissatisfaction with the Liberals, yeah.
it's funny because the Greens actually, I think, just dumped their most recent leader, Anna May Paul.
Well, haven't they just been switching back and forth between the two people who won?
Elizabeth May. Oh, really? I don't know.
I think, haven't they
But
just switched back and forth like the UK Greens?
yeah. Why is just the Canadian Greens are about as competent and radical as the U.S. Greens.
Who?
So the Canadian Greens are about as competent and radical and moderate as the U.S. Greens.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, they had in Prince Edward Island, they had I don't think they were the government, but they've been leading a fairly effective opposition.
Yeah, but several years ago, the Green Party, Canadian Green Party, over the objections of its leader, passed a resolution supporting boycott, divestment, and sanctions.
Well, that's not surprising. I mean, that's what they do unironically believe.
Yeah. But I think that, for some, I think the sort of the window dressing sort of coming off, and they're being open about why they really don't like Israel.
Well, of course. I mean, most of them are anti-Semites. That's the same thing the UK Labour Party's been going through. purging
Yeah.
its anti-Semites as aggressively as possible.
It's funny because I once had a conversation with people like saying, what would the two like most radicalized parties, like major parties that could run in the U.S. election? And someone said it would be the Republicans versus the UK Labour.
We'd have to change colors.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're both red.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
see.
the problem with any such comparisons, of course, is that both sides have a substantial amount of different factions, and who
Right, but
knows how they would all interact.
in the case of both the Republicans and the UK Labour, the radical factions have taken over the party.
Well, I mean, but the radical factions in the UK Labour Party are done, are, getting purged. Momentum is losing strength, not gaining it.
Right.
Um,
And I wish I could say the same for the Republican. By the way, how do you feel about the prospect of Arizona Republicans running that woman who had that very interesting take about what the Holy Trinity is?
let's just say it's fortunate the primary is in August.
Yeah. Just a fair warning, it is first past the post in Arizona primaries.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah. Like it's
It just
plurality
needs to
victory.
take time. Yeah, that's fine.
And I mean, do you think it's gonna be Brnovich? Like, what do the polls say?
Quite down on him, but obviously there's still time. I don't believe any serious campaigning has gone on yet.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
hoping I'm hoping it's Yee in the governor's race, just so you know.
of course. Um,
Is the poll
because
suggested? Okay, go ahead.
no, I think the radicals are all far up in the, or I think there's a lot of undecideds just because, again, there's been no real campaigning.
Who's the radical for governor?
Is Masters running for Senate?
Rogers is running for Senate. Let me see. Actually, what I just look up Arizona. I don't have to look up US. Like, it's actually easier to look up a gubernatorial race on Wikipedia than it is to look up a Senate race.
I mean, Ballotpedia
Republican.
would show you both.
Okay, there's Gaynor, who was the nominee for secretary, who lost to Hobbs. There's Lake. There's Carrie Lake.
Yes. She's batshit crazy, so it's gonna be a close race probably.
You're lucky that I don't know how to bleep stuff yet.
Trust me, I can say worse.
Yeah. Okay. Well, who's the person you mentioned?
Masters. That idiot who
Masters.
posed with his family and a bunch of guns.
Oh no. He's running for the House somewhere. Actually, no. Wait.
No.
Where is he? Oh, wait. Actually, look, I think I know who you're talking about. Actually, or at least, am I thinking of the same person? I'm thinking of Graham Allen. No, is that a different person who posed
That's
with
a
his
completely
family with
different
guns?
person. That's a different person in a different state. Oh, Blake Masters is running for Senate. Whatever.
Oh, Blake Masters. Oh yeah, that was that other guy who basically said, "Oh, I think Trump won. You might think otherwise, but you have to agree that
Well, no, but if
election
they
was
all want to
was a-"
run for Senate, then being first past the post is a good idea.
Right. Oh, I mean, well, McSally got an outright majority in 2018. She didn't
Yeah,
need first
but
past the
even
post.
even if she had been, 20 points swung to the radicals, they still would have lost because there were two of them.
Yeah. Oh, the chairwoman B Baquano and Sheriff Arpaio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow, I just realized Arpaio's like 89 now. Wow. Oh my goodness, Carrie Lake has Trump's and has Mike Lindell's endorsement.
Should be good. She's completely insane, so.
Come on. Oh, Kimberly Yee has Barry Goldwater Jr.'s endorsement. Oh, she has Debbie Lesko's endorsement. Barry
Is there
Goldwater
somebody
Jr.
reasonable?
Barry Goldwater Jr. Well, I didn't realize that there was still a Barry Goldwater Jr. Still around.
Probably. People can live for a long time.
Yeah. So Arizona GOP is going to continue to Arizona GOP. Unfortunately, they don't have the benefit of a convention system like the Virginia GOP had.
No, you wouldn't want that anyway. You know who runs the Arizona GOP, right? Well, I mean,
Yep.
in theory. Obviously, she stole the election.
Oh yeah. Oh, she absolutely did.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing how much projection that whole stop the steal crowd really is.
Yeah, but we're quite lucky that the legislative maps turned out extremely good for us in
Yeah,
Arizona.
we almost
Um,
lost the legislature last year.
Yeah, it was quite close. Well, it's a very marginal map. But this new one gives us a little bit more breathing room.
Yeah, I was actually looking at the Texas state house map, and I'm like, that's gonna dummy mender itself very quickly.
Well, there's only so much you can do, and I think they drew the best map they could.
Yeah.
Shoring up everybody and, giving us at least a little bit of space before, bad things start to happen.
Yeah. Like I'm wondering if the congressional map as well as the state house map just delayed the inevitable.
Well, I mean, you got people in like, oh, this map isn't going to survive a 24-point swing again. It's like, okay, no map is going to survive that.
I mean, like, just basically understand what I'm talking about. That map is going to hold well in 2022. Maybe it'll hold well in 2024. But what if there's a Republican in office in 2026?
Well, I mean, 2022 and 2024 will be quite easy. 2026 will be just environment dependent, And then 2028 and 2030 are where you'll start to see the individual characteristics of the map start to either shine or
Give
fail.
way.
Because I mean, even if you had, there are no maps that are going to be able to tank everything, especially if the trends are as radical as they were. Now, there's little reason to think that the trends are going to happen again. Most of the people who would have who are eligible for defection have done so.
Yeah. I could honestly, I could actually see Greg Abbott potentially carry almost all of South Texas. I think, though, let me be clear, Webb, Cameron, and Hidalgo are not going to go for him.
I mean, he didn't do that well in 2018 in the region, so.
Yeah, he did.
But he doesn't.
He did flip Jim Wells. It's actually worth noting that in these rural counties, he did. Lupe Valdez did worse than Wendy Davis, but in the cities, she did better.
No, but I mean, just comparing to 2020.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but 2022, but Greg Abbott, I think, is the one who's largely responsible for many of those shifts.
Not in 2020. Otherwise, he would have gotten them in 2018.
He started to get them in 2018.
Not really. I mean, a lot of those swings were, even from 2018 to 2020, were very radical. Huge double-digit swings.
Jim Wells County went for Greg Abbott in 2018 after going for Wendy Davis and for Hillary Clinton.
Jim Wells County. But there was still a swing from Abbott got 52, Trump got 55. So
right, but you're comparing like a president.
Yeah.
So again, I think that I think Greg Abbott can build off of that of those two elections. Like the overall trend for the Republicans in most of the Rio Grande Valley is quite good.
Oh yeah, and our map allows us to exploit, the future, for better gains.
I think we were a little bit tame, like on what we did with that congressional map. Like I'm a bit surprised.
I mean, we could have taken one more seat maybe, but
what I would have done is I would have basically sunk as many Democrats as possible from Laredo to McAllen to Brownsville, make that a Dem vote sink, and then take the other two.
Well, of course, and that's almost what happened, of course, because out of the three of them, one of them is red, one of them is light blue, and the other one is blue.
Yeah, although
If the
Republicans have a
trends
chance
continue, if the trends continue, it will be 2 red seats. With a minorly reduced risk of, it being struck down by the courts.
yeah,
So they were about as radical as they could be without endangering anything.
right. I have not run the calculations. I would guess that New Texas 15 was like Clinton plus 13, then Trump plus 3.
I think it was better than that. I can find it. I think I was the first one to run it when it first came out.
No, I'm just going based on the Cook PVI. I'm like running the calculations in my head. What the district lean would have been based on the Cook PVI, which is D+1.
Cook PVI is garbage. I mean, it's such a terrible metric these days. It's just terrible. I
mean,
think
I know how they calculate it, so I can figure it out based on that. I can get a rough
But I mean, you've
estimate.
got, so I think this is the map. Plan 2193. Let me see. Let me look at the original.
Okay. We're about to
Yeah, I think,
transition. We're about to transition like to the American portion of this conversation. But I just want to say, just ending off sort of the world conversation that we sort of had, like, oh yeah, there's one more thing I wanted to say. That independence referendum in New Caledonia. Pretty big
what a
victory for
joke. What a
the.
bunch of idiots. Imagine boycotting a referendum you demanded.
Yeah. So there's not going to be any more referendums from what I can tell.
I wouldn't give him one. It was Trump plus, yeah, Trump plus 3, or
Yeah.
Corn plus
The agreement.
5.
The agreement was only for
I've looked it
2
up.
and a third if the politicians called it for it. So there's no
Yeah,
more.
which is practically 3, yeah. No, they had their chance, and it would have been a close race, but obviously if you boycott it, you're not gonna win. It
Right.
was Hillary plus 15 or 14, I think, and Beto
Hillary plus
plus
14.
12.
Yeah, no, that to me should have been the early sign. And actually, this should have been the early sign for why for Texas's 23rd flipping back to Trump. That the fact that you had Texas's
Well, I mean, you say back to Trump, but he did actually win it in 20. Well, he won this version of it
Right,
relatively
so
easily.
what I'm talking about was Texas's 23rd. So you had Texas's 7th, which was like Clinton plus 1 that went to Beto plus 7. You also had Texas's 32nd, which went from like Clinton plus 2 to Beto plus 12. Whereas with the seat that was held by Will Hurd, that went from like Clinton plus 4 to Beto plus 5. So that was already in 2018 a lot closer than the suburban seats. That should have been the early sign. Maybe things were not going to go for Democrats in that district.
Well, I mean, you remember, I mean, we were all using the 2018 figures, and we were like, we're screwed if this keeps going.
Yeah, Republicans.
We're not drawing anything.
As soon as Will Hurd announced his retirement, Republicans basically wrote off that seat, and yet they held it.
Well, I mean, we at least had a good candidate,
Yeah,
which is why having good candidates is good.
He ran ahead of Trump in that district. It was like Trump plus 2, and it was Gonzalez plus 4.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't exactly hurt to actually run an Hispanic candidate in a Hispanic seat.
Right. Yeah, like that might have been like on the House, that might have been one of the upsets of the night, like probably the upset of the night.
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of them in California, obviously.
Although, I mean, there were early signs with some of those House seats, like particularly with Valadao.
Wouldn't taking the night away from our friend, wouldn't that have been probably the greatest upset, especially given Trump lost the seat?
Well, yeah, I mean, but there were signs as early as 2018 that Shalala was weaker than expected candidate. Like she only, I think, flipped the seat by 6 points in 2018.
Well, but even then, I think it was still rated likely D by the forecasters.
Right, I guess so, but you know, I think that RRH, I think had a bit more realistic take about what the seat was like.
Well, yeah, I mean, the forecasters are terrible, but we already know that.
Well, I mean, almost everybody sort of had a prediction that Democrats would gain seats because that's what the polls were saying.
Well, of course, but even the fundamentals suggested,
It's
such
unusual. I mean,
things.
2018, I mean, sorry, 2008, I think might have been the one time Democrats actually built on their majority in the presidential election. Usually, there's sort of a correction from the midterms.
Well, I mean, that's fairly common in the second midterm of a president and then the election after. I mean, we gained in 2014 and then gained again in 2016.
Actually, no, we did not gain in 2016. We actually lost 6 seats.
Well, but I mean, we just gained a round. Obviously, it was impossible to do any better, just given the higher turnout, but
Yeah,
you
I
know,
think personally, we if things go Republicans' way, we could get the biggest House majority since the 1920s.
well, but part of our redistricting strategy has not been to get bigger majorities, but rather deeper majorities.
Right, but we could also win the big majorities based on persuasion rather than gerrymandering. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I should call it gerrymandering.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang up now. No, that's deeply offensive. No, but I mean that has been our goal throughout the whole thing, is to not maximize our seat count, but rather to make the seats safer. I mean, I think almost every state that has been currently redistricted has seen as a reduction in competitive seats.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, isn't it crazy that there was once a time when people actually competed for their seats? Like, isn't
Well,
that
but
like a
honestly,
very
they didn't. I mean, Dems ran the House for, nearly 80 straight years. No, there wasn't
yeah.
any competition in the vast majority of those seats.
Well, until
Um,
1994, there was.
Not really. I mean, the House wasn't remotely competitive between World War II and 1994, except for what, 1980, um,
Did Democrats almost lose their majority in
1948 or 1946,
1952?
1952, 1952. But other than that, I mean, every other election was a landslide.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
yeah,
the
I mean,
vast majority of
Democrats.
the country has never been competitive. Um, It's only sort of a modern phenomenon that radical changes between the parties are rendering, seats to change either side.
Yeah, what?
But
Why is it that, like, you have like countries like the UK or like Canada where it seems like there's almost uniform swings like in most of the country, whereas in the US it's like very, very regionalized and localized.
well, we're just more sharply divided. We're less heterogeneous, so you have groups
Yeah.
that can more radically swing from election to election. Whereas the UK is really only divided by class, and that's a fairly weak, polarizer. Um, And Canada is just really polarized by how you say the word syrup.
Right. Although there is actually some language polarization that's going on. Like in New Brunswick, I think there's evidence that you have English speakers voting for conservatives and
What do
French
you mean
speakers voting
some
for liberals.
evidence? The whole province is split in half. There's, I think, a 1-to-1 correlation nearly between support for either side.
Yeah. So that honestly, quite frankly, reminds me of Northern Ireland or Alabama.
Well, I mean, Alabama didn't used to be polarized, obviously,
Right.
in terms of party by race, because both races were in the Democratic Party.
Hmm.
Whereas nowadays, um, you know, they are. And insofar as Northern Ireland doesn't have competitive elections. Every election is just a census, basically.
Right. Although I think that could be changed. Isn't there evidence suggesting that the nationalists for the first time could win the Northern Irish executive?
Well, yeah, but that's because there are the Catholics are gaining numbers compared to Protestants.
So is Northern Ireland going back? Like, are we going to go back to the Kingdom of Great Britain?
Doubt it. I mean, a lot of nationalists don't even want the issue decided. They wouldn't be happy in Ireland anyway. They're extremely heavily subsidized by the British.
And yeah, the truth is, I think that people are not voting along, younger people are not voting strictly along sectarian lines anymore.
They mostly are. The Alliance sort of breaks that rule, but roughly speaking, it's generally only unionists supporting the Alliance and nationalists tactically voting for them. So far as
Okay.
party identity, it's still pretty much 1-to-1.
All right. So before we move on to the my maps portion of this broadcast, let's take a moment to acknowledge that this day 30 years ago, a Kwanzaa miracle occurred in Eastern Europe.
One that they're trying very heavily to reduce today or reverse today.
Yeah. Yeah. I think how do I say to it? On the first day of Kwanzaa, my true love gave to me the end of communism in Eastern Europe, or something like that.
Yeah, please don't ever sing again.
You
It's
have
frightening.
not you have actually not heard me really sing.
Yeah, let's call that an intentional decision.
um I'm actually thought about recording myself actually singing and uploading it to YouTube.
Dear God,
Okay, but
that's genuinely horrifying.
I am going to subject you to another unfortunate, because there seems to be unacceptable to subject anyone, God forbid, to my singing when I'm not even trying to sing. We're going to instead subject people to this. Okay, why isn't this opening up?
That Arkansas thing is horrifying. What the hell?
I don't think, is it even done yet?
Doesn't matter. That green district was a travesty.
You I think you're gonna get a quick sense of my map style at this point. See that?
Very disgusting division of Northern Virginia.
But by the way, I am particularly proud of this baby.
Dear God.
I don't know why nobody thinks to draw a compact Richmond seat.
I believe it violates the VRA to do so.
I don't think the current district is even majority black.
I'm pretty sure it's counted as majority black, is it not?
Let's verify that. Yeah, hopefully
No, it's fairly
you
close.
guys.
It's definitely close. And actually, it is marginally surprising they aren't forced to draw a single one. But I mean, the retrogression standard is one that is so inconsistently applied, it's impossible to think about.
This new district is majority white.
Well, it was changed. If you'll remember, that's part of the reason.
I didn't realize they updated the maps yet.
Well, you'll remember that
on Wikipedia.
Well, there's a huge team that deals with that, but you'll remember that there are 2 black plurality districts in the south of Richmond area, and we flipped them both because the court turned them from being majority black into plurality black.
Right. And it's really polarized down there. Like,
well, but obviously not polarized enough.
Yeah, and this for those who are wondering, this is the district that I think that that you have been complaining about the most. This
it's fairly ugly. I don't know why. I don't know why you do that.
From Charlottesville to Lynchburg to Roanoke to Radford.
I mean,
Montgomery County.
I'm quite lucky. I mean, you didn't put the word fair in the title, so I mean, fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, I don't make any pretension. Like, some of these maps, just so you know, are unfinished. But I'm also particularly proud of like, I include communities of interest. This part of Loudoun County should be with the Republicans.
Yeah, that's fine, but why would you do that to the rest of it? Even I don't hate them
Why?
that much.
3 compact seats?
They're compact, but they're not really, they don't have anything. I mean, it should generally be drawn, not so much as strips, but drawing sort of the wealthy, both inner and outer
What
areas
what
together, and then drawing
what I
the,
did
in fact,
so
if
what
you
I
zoom
did
in, I think that it's almost an act of racial gerrymandering.
what I did up here.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
So what I did
there,
was I had to split Fairfax because Fairfax is so big. So I put it in Arlington, Alexandria in one, Loudoun in a second, and Prince William in a third.
no, but it's not about how you've divide, it's not how you've divided, it's that you've roughly cut all of the minority groups up into different districts.
I don't know. There's not enough of them that they can form a majority in any district.
Not a cohesive one, but you can definitely draw a very minority district, or, coalition district.
But the VRA doesn't require that.
No, but that doesn't make it not racial gerrymandering. Ideally, you would have one seat sort of representing the southern half of Fairfax. And then, 2 more for everything else. Ideally
Right.
connecting the wealthier areas together with the poorer areas.
But again, why
on their
would
own.
you why would you stretch this district all the way out to
No, that's not my point.
Winchester?
Roughly the bounds of those 3 districts combined is fine. Um, it's just how they're drawn together. I mean, that's like, I would start with that. As part of the a blue pack, but isn't how I would finish it.
Yeah. So
I'm not that rude.
you're convinced that this is illegal.
It's probably legal. I mean, you have literally, Dems violating the VRA in many places.
I'm thinking about adjusting this so that this takes. I've actually heard apparently, at least this is what Eric Cunningham said, is that the Eastern Shore really should be in the first district. Doesn't belong with Richmond.
Well, it should
So it
be,
doesn't belong.
but I mean, we've obviously seen that Dems don't give a damn about any of their supposed standards for continuity. I mean, you saw their New Jersey map, right?
Yeah. Like this, like really, I intend this to be straight communities of interest right here. Like college town seat.
It's a little big for a college town seat, isn't it?
Yeah, but it takes in all the college towns.
But I mean, all college towns is pretty sketchy. Even on 538, they had to connect the second, which it isn't. It's pretty funny actually.
Should Norfolk really be in the third district? Like this was
Sounds
sort
like
of
a
Eric.
community of interest to me.
Yeah, I mean Eric Cunningham's idea was to put Norfolk with Virginia Beach.
I actually want a red seat down there, so that would be a bad idea.
Yeah, so I was sort of following Eric Cunningham's lead on this, if you can believe it.
Yeah.
He's, by the way, just so you know, the intent over this seat was to screw over Bob Bad.
I mean, isn't his name Bob Good?
Yes, but the Elections Daily crew, from what I've heard, calls him Bob Bad.
Hasn't lost his seat yet.
And
well, I mean, you've seen the way that the special masters have drawn it, right? I mean, it's not good, but it's not bad.
Like I've sort of considered doing a similar thing with putting, where is Colonial Heights? Oh yeah, putting Colonial Heights specifically in this district to screw over a certain politician who you might be familiar with.
There's only a couple of them on that list, so.
I'm thinking of Amanda Chase.
Oh, she's never gonna run. They're lucky they haven't already stabbed her in the back in the Senate. They didn't need her vote for everything.
Okay, so
It should be rather interesting to watch how the new administration takes form in Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, Well, the map's already drawn, so like if even
No,
if
no, but it's just on the state level.
I think that Youngkin actually is going to be a really good governor.
Well, it just depends how he can get his stuff past a divided legislature.
So let's look at the district details. Like this is my Arlington seat. Not a lot of Asian Americans here. Is it? I think so. Is this the one that I think you're griping about? Oh wait, this is only plurality white. Oh, now I see what you're talking about.
What is 11? Oh, it's light green.
Oh,
No,
11
but like, oh,
is the
no, no, but
Princelium.
but open up the demographic view
Oh,
without the map being
you,
shown.
you think I've really figured out how to use this thing?
Yeah,
Color,
yeah, unclick
uh,
map colors, click
map colors,
demographic, click
demograph,
demographics.
demographics.
The districts want, well, actually, the both of them do work. Wait, I didn't even know they
Uh,
had a district. Oh, yeah, it will be, yeah, click the checkbox there.
okay.
And then click, or wait, do it on precincts, not districts. That is a recent
Oh,
change they've made. And
okay.
then
So
click the all minorities and change it to groups. Or all groups, yeah.
all groups.
So you can see sort of where the minorities are, right? Your map pretty
Yeah.
effectively divides them between multiple districts.
So, should I give you editing power over this map?
No? It's a lost cause
Oh.
already.
Well, wait till you see the other maps I have. Let's see. So, let's see, did I finish the Arkansas? I have not finished some of these, just so you know. Yeah, oh, that's the one you're talking about?
Yeah, I don't know why you do that to West Virginia either.
Well, West Virginia, like I just wanted to see if that was sort of like a personal challenge. Like, can I connect as many urban areas as I can? Like, what would you do for West Virginia?
Basically what they did. Just cut the state in half.
Uh,
It's not that complicated.
well, wait till yeah, you're not gonna like
Oh,
this one, just so you
God.
know.
Why would you do that?
Why would you split up Iowa City and Cedar Rapids?
Because I don't want a blue seat in the east.
Yeah, like this is an effective pack in my opinion.
Yeah, because isn't it? It's gonna be one red seat, one competitive-ish thing, and then two blue, no?
Two reds, right? This one
Green,
and that
well,
one.
yeah.
Let's see.
Because of course the hard
Uh,
part's to deal with partisan lean.
partisan lead. Oh, okay. So let's look at details. Yeah, no,
That's pretty
that's a
good.
pretty
Because
yeah.
the parts that usually screw districts that look like that over are technically in blue. But you don't need a 2-2 split in a state like Iowa. The only reason not to go 4-0 is because we don't win all the time.
Yeah. Isn't it
I
funny
don't
how
really
like
like the map that they did pass. I think they could have done better.
yeah.
Um,
It was sort of like
but
they wanted to sort of switch up the demographics, like put Des Moines in with like a right trending part of the state
well, it's
instead
just
of
they
with
were
Council
unwilling to
Bluffs.
make it a solid 3-1. So they're like, oh, we'll go sort of 4-0 that we probably won't win.
Oh, I think they have a good chance at winning, especially, Cindy Axne only won by about 1 point.
Yeah, but she is a halfway decent candidate in a state that does like halfway decent Dems. So, I mean, remember how close
Yeah.
Reynolds got to losing?
Oh yeah, like isn't it funny how she only carried like a single congressional district?
Yep, it was the Jones path.
Oh yeah, the Doug Jones path. And the JBE. If you
Yeah,
know if you know it.
yeah, even though he probably got fairly close to winning more.
Yeah, I mean, well, Doug
Um,
Jones almost carried Mo Brooks's seat.
Oh, did he? Well, not like it was very difficult against the guy he was with.
Okay, now this is the one that I think is one of my bigger monstrosities.
Well, the
Um,
map they passed is a monstrosity, even if it was quite good for us.
no, what's wrong with the map that they passed?
It's a little ugly, isn't it?
Yeah, no, this to me, I giggle at this. This is sort of a Denver to ski town seat.
Okay, so,
Uh,
there's gonna be one red seat, one or two that we're gonna lose instantly and the rest are blue, right?
one red. Wait. I thought it was 4 blue seats, 3 red seats, and 1 competitive seat.
That light
Or
blue seat
are you?
makes me nervous.
Wait, are you talking about my map?
Yeah,
Oh,
go to colors and hit partisan lean, please.
colors. Okay. Thank you for teaching me how to use this thing.
The other partisan lean, yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
just hit it, it'll. Yeah,
yeah.
well, we're gonna lose that Pablo seat. That's not gonna stay red for long. And that other
That
seat makes me nervous
Pueblo.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
or El Paso,
This
yeah,
actually
the El Paso
no
County
no
one,
no.
yeah.
This is sorry. Actually, this is Colorado Springs, not Pueblo.
Oh, yeah.
This is El.
No, but even that's, gonna be pretty blue in a short amount of time, I suspect, so.
I actually I originally I had this district sort of wrap around the entire state, but this is the third. This is like the
Yeah,
most.
but I
This
mean,
is but
the
now for the
fundamental
Den.
problem is we have just terrible candidates all over the place, so they're all gonna underperform by a ton.
Yeah, I mean, I here's what I did. This is sort of what I was talking about when I said I want to do it to give the Amanda Chase treatment to. I drew rifle in with this district.
The problem is there's certain Dems out there who don't deserve to win either, so. But I mean, she has
Yeah.
a now D or R15 district and it's gonna be close. She's gonna screw it up somehow, I'm sure.
Oh
She's
shoot! Am
been,
I actually changing this map? Shoot. See, look at this. I do the responsible thing. There's a Denver seat right here.
good.
Yeah, and then I draw a Republican
Is
leaning
that contiguous? It
suburb
doesn't look contiguous.
right there,
No?
right there.
Yeah, where?
This was contiguous when I drew it. Shoot. Do I seriously have to revise this map?
What a shame. You can quickly change the block and fix it that way.
Okay. Let's see. Okay.
Do the
I need to
blocks.
turn blocks.
Yeah, do the block.
What?
No, you can change, the color's fine, but just click the word block
Uh,
at the
oh,
top.
there we go.
Yeah, click the purple precinct. Change, oh, is that whole thing? Oh, yeah. And then select the red district and then steal that left half. You have a very
Cool.
tiny screen, by the way.
I
No, you're good. You're good. Just click it. And then hit the plot or that little check, the little
there we
check above
go.
it.
Oh, check. Oh,
Yeah, I got screwed a bunch. It's gotten more reliable, but I have gotten screwed in the past by, looks like actually you've rendered a little hole.
look at
but that's fine.
look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
You just need to
That
select
is
more blocks.
cool. What am I doing?
Zoom
Oh,
in.
cool.
No,
Okay.
zoom in and just take more.
I just okay. Oh shoot.
Just click off of it. It's fine.
Click off of it.
And then, yeah, click the correct precinct and then just steal the blocks in question.
Okay. Check.
No, hit, select those two little holes,
What two little holes? I have the
the
oh
purple
this
parts.
oh
Yeah, select it, yeah. And then select the other
oh
one.
it is two little holes. There we go.
Yeah,
Contiguous and
no.
population
Hit,
has not been a what? Wait, what's this? What in the world is this?
that's what happens when you zone over huge areas with highlighter, I think.
Oh, crew, I should probably unselect block. Oh, what? Yeah. No, no.
It's probably just the
Uh,
precinct. You don't even have to block it.
yeah, there we go. I probably didn't even have to block this either. But yeah, that's probably a seat that Tom Tancredo could win. Right here. This one that wraps around here. And then this is like a Fort Collins, I think. Actually, no, Fort Collins here. Then I have a Democratic seats like here, here. This is a and here. Why? And you're still paying attention, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, here, 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 and here. Those are the and then here, the one that stretches in to the ski villages because I decided I wanted to college town the ski villages.
Of course.
Wanted to okay. That was fun. Wait till you see the Pennsylvania map. Oh, isn't it funny? I think I shouldn't have called this a fair map. Because wait till you see what I did to Harrisburg.
Hopefully something vicious.
I like to think what I did was vicious, but I think we have different definitions of what vicious is. Is it gonna load? It'll load eventually. You have the ability to share, just so you know, if you want to share some of your maps. But
Been on a dry spell recently. I haven't really drawn anything lately.
you haven't really drawn anything lately. Oh yeah, you
No,
see that?
fairly vicious.
Yeah, that is that this thing right here is a thing of beauty. Um,
I definitely wouldn't qualify it as fair.
yeah. Why should the cities be drawn in with the rest of the area? That's what I say.
They're in the area.
Yeah. Now you guys are all seeing why Cameron was not excited when I told him that I took up map making. I think he
Yeah, I
thinks that
think
my
I'd
map
recommend
making
finding another hobby.
I'd say that my map making is worse than my singing.
It's a dangerous competition.
um you might like what I did here though. That's Connor Lamb's old seat.
Not really. Why'd you take that little chunk out of whatever the county above that is?
To make it equal in population. Because I'm here, because here, let me zoom in what I show you. No, come on, Allegheny, come on, Allegheny, work with me. I think I did a more efficient, if it'll load. Yeah, see, this is what I did to Mike Doyle's seat.
That-
So then,
You know, you can put the city lines up, right?
yeah. Do I want to though? That's the question.
That purple seat doesn't really look like it respects those lines very much.
Have I put up the? Oh, I haven't put it up the city. City. It's not. It's not
Maybe they
doing
don't
it.
have it for Pennsylvania.
It's only doing precinct for some reason. Is it is anyway? This I thought. Actually, isn't he? Something's wrong. Like I think something's like disabled with the because I'm not even able to
Yeah,
put up district. Should I just refresh the page and see what happens? Maybe that'll help.
You killed DRA. I can't believe you've done this.
I know, right? Okay, maybe I have to stop share. Let's also close a few windows. Maybe that'll help. Maybe just it's overloading it. So in retrospect, while we're waiting for that to be fixed, was McConnell in retrospect right to give Manchin what he wanted on BIF in order to kill BBB?
Oh, easily. I mean, that was my position at the time, and it's been borne out in spectacular form.
Because I think that Eric Cunningham, like, he still doesn't think he owes me an apology for that. Okay, something's wrong here. Now let's try closing every tab except for this one. We're gonna have. Yes, for those who are wondering, I was watching Ratatouille earlier today.
That's your
with
definition of a date?
It was with someone special. What's your definition of a date?
Don't have one. Probably
Oh.
something involving alcohol.
Okay. Yeah. DRA, what are you doing, my man?
Can't believe you killed him.
Okay.
What did he ever do to you?
Yeah, I know, right? Anyway, I was gonna get back to Pennsylvania. What I was gonna show you was that I basically packed Democrats into that 17th district and basically tried to shore up for the Republicans 16.
Whoa.
But oh, did I click on? Please tell me I didn't click on Michigan. Why does this look like Michigan? What? This does not look like anything resembling Georgia at the moment. Where in the world are we? Like, man, what?
Zoom
I
out. Where are
seriously
you?
have. Oh, here we go. Yes, I did this. This is a monstrosity. But it is an 8-6 map. And I look at like I sort of do what I think most people do. They sort of take the 4 Republican districts, draw them into Atlanta Metro, and draw
Fairly dangerous light blue district you have there. I think Cal would have something to say about that.
this one.
Yeah. Oh no, those are 2 districts. I take it back.
No, no, yeah,
Fair
this
enough.
this is dark green, so this is like Cobb and Gwinnett, like blue areas. But yeah, this one I basically try to put as much of Atlanta as possible in a single district. Yeah, this is this city.
Interesting division there. Are you one of those people that thinks county lines are just arbitrary?
In Georgia, I think they are.
Not really. I mean, the yellow district there could very easily fit within one county if you traded the precincts you stole from red with the decent precincts.
Fulton is
in the
over a
north.
million people.
So,
But also the city of Atlanta crosses into DeKalb. This part right here of DeKalb is Atlanta.
fair enough. Dispersed.
Yeah.
That's funny.
What?
No, I'm just reading Twitter.
Any breaking news that I should be aware of?
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
It's usually not good.
Yeah. This to me is the real monstrosity. This is where I really got evil. This is a bit of the Black Belt, Savannah, up the coast, Augusta, taking in some more of the Black Belt, Athens. That to me is particularly brutal, and it's a sort of similar thing I did here with Macon, Columbus, and Black Belt areas.
Jesus.
You're not a fan, obviously.
There are very few good Georgia maps, tragically.
Yeah, Georgia seems to be like, I mean, I'm surprised I figured it out. Actually, not, I don't know if my map's that good, but like, I'm wondering if there are people who like lament the, actually, this is a map I actually consider myself pretty proud of. This is Minnesota, in case you're wondering. I wonder if I should take up another round of map making this week now that I'm on break.
DRA seems to be trying to help you prevent that, so.
Yeah, and so would you recommend it? Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are.
Where's that,
Okay,
where's
you.
that leave button? Well, I mean, just on the last topic, because obviously, I mean, we wouldn't want to run over your bedtime. Is
You think I have a
obviously,
bedtime?
yes. Is the continued concern over the integrity of, Ukraine's border.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um,
Apparently Russia's pulled back.
No, they've pulled some token troops back while leaving all their equipment up. I
Okay,
don't buy any of it.
let's try. Yeah, Indiana. I think I made one map and then I tried another. Yeah. Is this the one that I broke? I don't know. DRA, assuming that. Oh, I'm not even zooming anywhere close, like to where these maps. Like, look at that. I'm not even
No, but
close
it
to
will,
Indiana.
it will move once it actually loads, but it's loading really slowly.
What about now? Yeah, it's also not zooming. See, look at that. Originally there was just 2 districts in southern Indiana, so we're back to that.
So I
You
assume
might
you
like.
just looked at the current map to see how to draw this?
Oh, I mean, well, is this essentially how they do it?
Basically, the red one doesn't look like that, but it's close enough.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. What do they do? I don't know. Maybe my 5. I don't know if my 5's a little bit different though. I think my 5, because my 5 doesn't take in this area right here. This one I sort of just gave up on. Like, it's like, I don't know how would you crack this?
In 3 pieces.
It's like the hard thing is that it's in a corner. Like, I think I
Well,
actually
I
made
mean,
an
actually, I mean, you've seen how I would, well, no, but I mean, you've seen how, what I would do to it. If I was being serious, then you can just do it in 3 pieces. It isn't that hard.
Yeah, I mean, Frank Mervin is a particularly strong incumbent, so
Yeah,
yeah,
but he only gets
I
to run
tried.
in 1 district.
Yeah,
No, but I'm still a fan of the way, I didn't crack it at all. I just stuck Gary in with Indianapolis.
yeah, that's what Eric did too. I'm yeah. This one is an incomplete one where I was like got whatever the sober equivalent of drunk is, and I just decided to draw as many college. Like, I tried to try and Terre Haute in with Lafayette in with Bloomington.
Fair enough.
Anyway, did you get to ultimately get to see what I did with I showed you what I did with Allegheny County, right? What was your grip with that?
Jesus.
Gripe.
My gripe. Oh God, I can see it from here. Jesus.
Wait, the Pennsylvania map?
I'm looking at your
Oh,
Minnesota map. Jesus.
oh, you don't like the Minnesota map?
Why would you do that?
You don't even see anything yet. Like,
I
hold
saw
your
it
horses, big
before.
guy.
It's a freaking
Like,
C.
um, okay. See, 4 compact seats
But
in
what's the point of
Indianapolis.
drawing the South like that?
Um, what I wanted, Rochester in
Like
with
why? What is this? What's all this stuff in the middle and why isn't it in the blue district?
because there's too many people in this area.
Yeah, but all you have to
Some
do
of
is
it,
trade it for stuff in the South.
um, I think if we scroll down here, like this part, you'll actually see why. Uh, yeah.
But like, no,
Mancat.
there's like a conscious decision not to put like the one city there. Why doesn't the precinct around it get included? There's no way that many people live in there.
Um, so that's the whole grip with this map. What about up here?
I don't know why you do that to the west. It's kind of
What's
gerrymandery. I
wrong?
like that though.
What's wrong with having a northern district?
Um, well, I mean, it's a fair concept, cause it kills the Dems, in the east, but I wouldn't necessarily call it fair or anything close to that.
Which is interesting. Yeah, no, this is the entire reason why I drew the first like that. It ends up being marginal, but it's actually worth noting that yeah, this according to this looks pretty marginal. This eighth. I'm assuming it's because there's some native areas as well as Moorhead that's in here. I actually
Probably.
don't.
Did you
I don't
enjoy
know.
what they did with the natives in AZ?
Oh, I haven't seen the Arizona. You could share your screen just so you know what I didn't get to. I sort of noticed that they made Tom O'Halloran's seat redder. I think they also gave themselves a shot at Ann Kirkpatrick's seat.
I wouldn't describe it as a shot.
It's R plus
I,
3.
not on
Yeah,
not on the new one, it
it's
isn't.
Cook. It's Cook. Oh, it's Cook, right? So never
I mean,
mind.
you have
I take.
here close enough to the final version anyway.
Did
No,
you
it's
DM
not.
me a picture of that map?
Hold on, I gotta go find it. I have the old variant of it, but they made some changes to the south that I did not include in my analysis.
Okay.
But I mean, you can just see it on 538
Let's go to
before,
538 then.
just before I run it through DRI
Eight
official
maps.
maps.
538 congressional maps. What redistricting looks like in every state. That's probably the wrong link. Or is that a redistricting tracker? Oh, that is a redistricting. Okay, Arizona.
Yeah, then click on Arizona.
I'm going to do a top 10 or top 5 worst gerrymanders. And you can bet this state's going to feature prominently.
Oh yeah.
So when I
What a
say
bad
sort of a
joke.
shot, I'm referring to this seat. This is Kirkpatrick's seat.
Oh, I mean, she may live in it, but the seat that would normally be identified with her. Well, no, actually, no, it wouldn't be. It's O'Halloran in the northern seat. Yeah.
Yeah, this is O'Halloran. This is
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think his chances
he
are?
got boned. This is likely R, like
But
at a
you
minimum.
can see on the demographic analysis, they did quite a good job keeping all the natives. Scroll down.
Oh, this is all the natives in
No,
here.
scroll down.
Scroll down.
Keep going. Yeah, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. And you can see, no, not that far. all the natives on that, the bar, not a bar chart, but they look like bars. You can see,
Uh,
number two has all the natives, more natives than Hispanics. That's fairly rare.
oh, they put them all in with whoever's going to succeed O'Halloran.
Yeah, but they managed to do it in a red seat, which is fairly impressive.
Isn't that like a gerrymander, a racial gerrymander?
No, why would it be?
Because you're diluting their voting power.
They don't have any voting power. Look at the rest of the seats. That's the most Indian district you can draw.
Okay. Anyway, this is a particularly, I don't know. Do they have a shot at this seat? Do we have a shot here?
I mean, if things get really bad and the Arizona GOP doesn't totally kill itself, then yes,
We
but
we we could
you
get
could
seven
see
to
the big,
two.
yes, it is in theory a 7-2 map if we're really good. Will it be
Yeah,
a
like
7-2? No.
this is not competitive. This is probably almost certainly going to flip. This is probably going to flip. Uh, this might flip. This in a bad year for Republicans could flip.
With a, yeah, we need to get rid of both him and Biggs.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
risking
I don't know how
everything with their stupidity.
Biggs is in a pretty safe seat though.
Yeah, I still don't wanna risk it. He needs
I
to go
mean,
anyway.
I sort of have this feeling that, when I look more a little bit more at the demographics of both Arizona and Georgia, I've become a bit more convinced Georgia is sort of zooming away from the Republicans. Arizona, we actually might have a shot in going forward.
Well, I mean, the problem with Georgia is that it has an extremely, a starkly blue population that's getting bigger, whereas Arizona just doesn't.
Right. I mean, also Georgia's major is in the top half of educated states, of college educated states. Arizona's
Yeah.
not. Like
But the fundamental
Georgia,
problem is that Georgia is not getting wider, so
right.
it's getting
Georgia's also
not
has a higher
wider in a way that we're not gonna be able to benefit from in any way, shape, or form.
Georgia, as a point of comparison, has a higher college educated rate than New Mexico and Nevada.
Both of which, I mean, Georgia could easily be, bluer than, Georgia could easily be bluer than New Mexico and Nevada next election.
Oh, wow, like 2022.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
only in
I
theory,
actually
obviously, but
I have Colorado governor rated likely D, although it could become a safety. I have New Mexico governor as lean D. You know what I mean?
I mean, we have a good candidate.
Oh, are we running the weatherman again?
Yeah,
Yeah, he did well. Um,
very well. I mean, that was on the same list as the maps where you're like, why are we still leading?
yeah. You were like, why were you still like? Oh yeah,
No, but
like
I mean,
when Cheaterelli was ahead, like over Phil Murphy.
yeah, it was just one of those like, what, hello? How can we be doing this
Yeah,
well?
there was clearly a late break for Cheaterelli.
Oh yeah. Well, it's the same late break that Youngkin benefited from. Um,
Yeah. Well, I think that
you
that
know,
was always going to be really close, though. I think that was for a while looking like it was going to be very close.
but I mean, we saw that the swings in New Jersey were very close to the swings in Virginia.
Yeah. So there was a late break. So McAuliffe should have won were it not for that.
Well, I mean, he didn't
Did
deserve to win regardless, but
right, but did he self-immolate at the end?
oh yeah, I mean we saw the exit polls and the polls after showing the damage that that whole education thing did to him. Um, I just enjoy going back looking at, Dave's replies, you know, just to be able to laugh once in a while.
Dave Wasserman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if you want a based
Uh,
election, that was definitely it.
Youngkin was I sort of personally went back and forth because I was sort of a little uncomfortable with Youngkin playing footsie with not so he didn't give a clear answer about whether or not Biden had won, but I sort of at the end I went for I would have pulled for Youngkin and the Republicans like down ballot. Like he worked hard, he worked his butt off for that win, and I think he deserved it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they managed, they did everything they could to lose and they ended up losing. So,
Yeah, that's by the way, you're looking at Ohio. I personally believe
so
uh
a city that's really easy to keep in the same district, why would you do that? Or at least a county,
uh
shall we say? Well, actually, that is
this
what it looks like. Yeah, that is actually what it
these
is.
are these are all majority black precincts.
No, but that is what the city looks like.
Yeah. Also, the city is actually way too big to be just one congressional district. Just so you know. I sort of kind of tracked a little bit more towards what Eric Cunningham did with his fair map. It's sort of like a 8 to 4 to 3 concept. Like,
Well, I really do like what we passed in Ohio. I mean, it could have been better, but the first version of it was better. But
what could be
um,
better than 13 to 2?
no, just the actual form of it. Those districts could have been safer and were in their original configuration.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, I'm surprised it's actually this close, like in District 1, the way I drew it.
a lot of suburbs. Well, that's why we get away with what we drew because it's not that blue. It's not that, well, it's not that big and it's not that blue.
This 7 is Cuyahoga and Lorraine. That's like a competitive. See what I did there? Cuyahoga and Lorraine.
Yes. Isn't one of those districts supposed to be majority black in the north? Or is it actually, is it majority black? It probably
That's
is.
this one. That's this one.
It's probably majority
Okay.
black.
Yeah. I did it without any of that oh shoot. Yeah, see?
Oh, so it's not.
Oh, what?
Look at it. 46% white.
This is illegal. This is clearly illegal.
I can't believe you've done this.
Okay, where else am I going to draw this? Is that why they always drew this district in with Akron? Because there's not
Yeah.
enough black people in Cleveland?
Yeah.
My mind
I
is
mean,
blown.
you're like worse than Hitler right now. I mean, that was genuinely impressive. Ironically, actually, I don't believe the current version is majority black either, but it's definitely
Yeah.
not that white.
Holy cow. How did I do this? This is supposed to also be a VRA seat and it's majority white.
Terrible.
How did I do that? How did I manage that? Oh, it's because I didn't check the demographics after I made this district. This map is 100% illegal. I did it. This is supposed to be what's it called? Delaware County, blue trending Delaware County.
Yeah, that's risky. Yeah, I'm gonna have to, oh wait, do I follow him? Yeah, I do. I'm totally gonna have to block you on Twitter now.
Yeah. Well, it was nice knowing you.
Yeah. I mean, even my district, I think, the one I drew in Ohio, I think it's majority black. Let me see.
Yeah, no, this here, I believe is supposed, actually, is it this one or this one right here? Actually, right here is supposed to be a competitive Summit County based seat.
Let's see, this is.
Yeah,
The irony is my original version actually does have Ironically, this is a case in which they were more aggressive than me, which is fairly rare.
Yeah, I mean, why doesn't the GOP just hire you to draw all their maps?
Because they'd get sued to death. Yeah, my Ohio map has 2 majority black districts.
Yeah. By the way, did you know that I am unable to draw even a state house seat on Athens that votes blue? Like
Just connect
Athens
it
is
with something
just,
else.
yeah, I mean, like, but that's how small Athens is.
State links, that's funny. Yeah, no, that's not surprising.
And then finally, the other thing I did here, let's see, where is this it? Oh yeah, this is the Northwestern Ohio competitive seat. It's actually
Look at your map on, actually, the 2008 ones are gone, isn't it? Take it back.
Sorry, did you send me something on Twitter?
No,
Okay. Yeah, so here, see what I did here? Very competitive Northwestern Ohio based seat.
I wouldn't recommend that. Doesn't Jordan live nearby?
I'm pretty sure where is he lives in Marion, maybe? I don't know. Where does Jordan live?
He was the one who didn't like the first version because it made his seat only like R10 or something.
Yeah, I mean, this honestly should be the most Republican seat in the state. It's Western
Well,
Ohio
depending on how radical you make the other variant of it.
yeah. Like I'm sure your version would probably draw all but 2 seats in with Western Ohio to get as much Republican voting power as possible.
What did I do with mine? Mine is kind of an interesting creation. It's probably among my worst, mostly because it's on the older data. This obviously isn't necessary today, but I mean, you can kind of see. What map do you see on your screen right now?
I am looking at my map. Should I stop sharing my screen?
I already kicked
Uh,
you off. Go back to Zoom.
oh, I'll stop the share. Oh, now you started screen sharing. How,
Yeah, what do you see?
what
Which state are you
monstrosity?
looking? What state are you looking at?
Ohio.
Oh, good then. Yeah, it's certainly an interesting creation.
Is that stretch from Columbus to Cincinnati even legal?
Under the current rules, no.
Then what is that?
This is obviously also in the era before blocks, because you can actually make this a lot cleaner.
Oh, this is like an older version of. This is an old map.
Oh, very old. You don't need 2 districts now, because you can see in 2008 how it's fairly weak. And then
How
2016,
long have you been
obviously,
drawing maps?
couple of years.
Oh,
This is probably
so this
from 2017 or 2018. But even I have,
2 seats on Cleveland.
no, but even I have 2 majority black districts, so. You
Yeah,
know,
you probably don't need that what's it called, Toledo to Cleveland seat anymore.
no, you probably wouldn't, even though you wouldn't have, you have to keep it if you want this to be majority black in the way I have it.
Yeah.
But this is honestly, it's mostly a troll just to make sure that even Obama didn't win most of the seats. I
Yeah.
mean, he won the state, remember, and he only got 4 seats. And one of them is this. Imagine a Dem winning
He
this.
oh yeah, he actually only lost the Appalachian seat by 2 points.
No. But you can see he was quite weak in the southern suburbs here.
Yeah, no, the suburbs of Cleveland flipped from Obama to Trump, right?
Oh, easily.
Like Lake County, Lorain County, or did the Cuyahoga suburbs also went that way, or is it?
Well, all of
I
them did,
actually,
because they're all much redder than the other districts.
but Columbus went the other way, and Cincinnati, I think, went the other
Oh,
way.
yeah. Well, I mean, they got redder only because it was such a blue, Obama actually won the state versus, I think Biden lost it by like 10 points.
Yeah, I mean, I just figured a lot of that shift was, you know, Youngstown, even Akron, also Toledo, like the and the areas around there. That went from being light red and super blue, respectively, to being super red and lighter blue. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
But I mean, in Ohio, you luckily have those extremely red areas that you can use to balance, a lot of those areas out.
Oh, fun fact. Did you know that in 2016, Rob Portman won Mahoning?
Sounds about right.
He actually won Tim Ryan's district, old district.
Sounds about right. I mean, he almost lost it in 2020, so, it's
Yeah, I
not
mean,
like,
Biden only won it by 3.
yeah. So I mean, if we didn't take it out, the electorate would for him, so. We're only
Yeah.
hastening the inevitable.
I'm genuinely just still surprised that that seat that was intended as a Democratic vote sink ended up going, for Biden by like 3 points.
Well, it just shows you how far the swings have occurred.
Yeah. So they're jettisoning, as they say in space, they are jettisoning that district.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing
And
you
how
probably
many
don't like
seats
about
can they
me.
lose before they lose the
I
house? 3 or 4?
5. Actually, no, 5 is the breaking point.
Don't they have 221 now?
They're about to replenish that with a seat in Florida.
No, but I mean, I think the 2020 election resulted in 221, no?
222.
No, it was 222. So yeah, it
Yeah.
would be 5 seat gains flips it.
Yeah, so you're besides the fact that I draw maps and I sing, I also am obsessed with space travel. So I guess you
Whoa.
probably don't like me talking about them jettisoning a district.
Do you unironically follow Elon Musk?
I follow him on Twitter. I have
Whoa,
notifications turned on.
that's
Um,
dangerous.
why?
Well, I mean, that's
He's
pretty
he's probably
radical, isn't it?
he's probably doing more than the government has ever done to combat climate change.
Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't pay taxes and that's like a death sentence, isn't it?
He's about to pay 11 billion in taxes.
Yeah, that's the
He's
joke.
about to,
I am kidding, in fact.
yeah. Uh, yeah. Apparently, there's an estimate that said that Elon Musk's tax bill could keep the government running for 14 hours.
Sounds about right.
And yet, I think both parties have just said, you know what? Let's just run up as much debt as possible.
No, nobody cares anymore. Even I've given up.
Yeah. I still would like to go back to my old plan of selling off government-owned assets to pay down the national debt.
Not much to sell. You wouldn't gain that much money.
We probably have like, I think it was like $128 trillion worth of assets.
Doubt it. Not with anybody that would any pay for most of it.
Yeah. But we own natural resources. Why aren't we like auctioning those off?
Well, I mean, most of them are either not accessible or you don't want to get rid of them.
Yeah.
I mean, even I'm not
Um,
the type to, say, turn Yellowstone into an oil field.
right. I guess you're a conservationist.
Not really. I'm not that bad.
Uh, I mean, it's actually really funny because you know that like nationally there's like a debate about drilling offshore.
Yeah, I'm deeply
Because,
in favor.
but in Charleston, in South Carolina, there's a bipartisan opposition towards it.
That's why all those districts have to be as red as humanly possible. So,
Yeah. Like in fact, I think one of the reasons why Joe Cunningham actually won in 2018 was because the Republican, wasn't sufficiently against offshore drilling.
yeah, and that's why that district has to be really red, so you can be in favor of offshore drilling.
I don't know how you draw a redder district. The
Uh,
best I've seen is Trump +9, but
I think
um,
the South Carolina Senate did pretty good. Did they not?
there was actually a proposal to make it Trump +1 as an FU to Nancy Mace.
Yeah, but assuming that we're not that suicidal, I mean, they put it at R+18 on, um,
Oh,
R3H, and
fun
I'm
fact.
too lazy to actually look
But
at what it is.
before we end the call, want to talk about California's map?
Not really. It's a disgusting array of nonsense. What a disgusting process.
Yeah. That's what happens. Basically the reason why that was able to happen is because your boy Newsom survived a recall.
Not really. I mean, even if he had lost, it wouldn't have changed anything.
Governor Larry Elder could have appointed a member of the commission.
I don't believe any of them are gubernatorial appointments.
Oh, somebody in the administration, I think, made the appointment.
It's by random draw.
Oh,
The
so,
state auditor picks some names out of
oh yeah,
a,
the state auditor, and he got the right Republican on the commission.
uh, a mythical Republican from Berkeley. And
Oh,
since that
what
obviously doesn't exist,
California's map hasn't been approved yet, according to 538.
they're just late. They've all but passed it. I think they're waiting for some technical changes.
Yeah. So what happened? So first of all, what I do know is Doug LaMalfa is shores up. Jay, is this Jay Obernote's seat? No, this is Tom McClinton. Where's Jay Obernote? Oh, there's Jay
Mm,
Obernote.
One of the really ugly ones. I mean,
Kevin
basically the rule
McCarthy.
is all of our seats are screwed and except for
Kevin
McCarthy, who
McCarthy.
is in the reddest seat in the
Ke-
state because
Doug
F
LaMalfa,
us.
Jay Obernote, and Daryl Isa all get Republican vote sinks. Tom McClintock gets, I think, a Trump +1 seat, as does Ken Calvert. I have no idea what they did with Devin Nunes. Oh yeah,
His
they
seat is
screw
gone.
his seat's gone. That's the one that they just eliminated.
Well, I mean, it's in theory um, the one next to McClintock's, but it doesn't exist anymore in its current form.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, this fifth is supposedly supposed to be that district.
Yeah,
What is that? That's a pretty. I have no idea
it's
who's gonna
about as
win there.
gross. Calvert, I think, is the funniest.
Yeah,
It's the ugliest possible seat they could have drawn just for the memes. And I
yeah.
respect that, you know? The only good
But
thing is they didn't completely screw Isa, but I mean, they openly made decisions to protect Levin and Porter, to screw
yeah,
over Steele, to give Kim voters she doesn't need, to screw
yeah.
Garcia or,
Valadeo's screwed. Is
no, he
this
should be
Garcia's?
fine. He should be fine.
Valade
That seat he's overperformed by enough in the past to hold that seat.
and this guy, he's screwed.
Who?
Garcia
Oh yeah, there's no way. He's not good enough to
and
win a seat any bluer than the one he has right now.
Katie Porter, she's gonna be fine. This was a win for young Kim.
Yeah, who didn't need
Where?
it.
Oh, and oh wow, Michelle Steele, I don't know if she overperformed enough to win this seat.
Probably by just enough. Well, actually, you can't even say by, because it doesn't really resemble her original seat. And I don't think we had a candidate for a large portion of that seat. So comparisons won't be very easy.
Right. So maybe
But
Michelle.
if
I mean,
anybody
maybe
can hold it, it is her.
yeah.
The only person whose life really got harder is Harder's. Get it? That's funny.
Oh, Harder got shored up. What are you
Not
talking
really.
about?
Only
I'm
D plus 7?
I'm looking it up. It's bluer than the seat he had before. His seat was even.
Not only in theory, it was never that even. But I mean,
Uh,
really,
oh yeah, no.
it just
This is an
destroys us.
improvement for Josh Hart. It's an improvement for Josh Harder. His old seat was Biden +3.
No, it was only Biden plus 3. We just don't ever run serious candidates. That's the problem. No,
Oh
but I
yeah,
mean, we got it.
We had Ted House. We had Ted House in the seat.
We need to get rid of McClintock as quickly as possible because he's gonna lose that seat if we aren't really careful. And otherwise, it's just, our recovery will have been completely arrested here.
Yeah.
So they've done quite a good job.
Well, it's California.
Yeah,
And I just realized that what we weren't even showing our viewers the map.
thank God. It's not appropriate. Their small children can't look at it.
Do you want to go for another hour?
Not particularly. I need to go eat dinner, so I should
Okay.
probably leave it here with you.
Okay. Well, next time we'll talk about whatever's on the news. Cameron, thank you for joining me.
Have fun with, your Canadian lockdown.
Oh, I will.